Hey guys, welcome back to the SimFactor series. In this series, I'm investigating how well the simulator can prepare you for an IRL championship. This is episode 4, so if you haven't seen the other 3, then I would check them out because they'll go into more detail about the plan and what I'm doing. If you saw episode 3, or my comparison video, you'll know that I've been doing Buckmore Park. For this track, I did a baseline test day followed by regular practice on the sim, before a final test day at the track to see if the sim helped. 1 week before this video was recorded, I visited Buckmore Park for my first session. The facilities and racing experience are great and I would definitely recommend it if you're in the area. Before I went to the track again, I did a week of hardcore practice, doing multiple hours a day in the dry and the wet. Even after my first races at Castle Combe in real life, I still did the practice on the simulator. The rental car in the sim was different to the carts I've been driving in real life because it didn't have a limiter on it. It was still good practice because I would still be able to learn the racing line, and the cart's handling was super close even though the carts are faster. On the first day, I was getting used to the track on the sim and I was shocked at how realistic it was. I knew the track was laser scanned, but this was the first time I've got to drive a laser scanned track that I've driven in real life, so I was really impressed by the likeness. On the first day, I got a 47.7, and on day 2 I improved and got a 47.6. As I said, the track felt really good, but the curbs didn't feel as bumpy through the wheel as they did in real life. This meant you could be a lot more aggressive on them and not lose too much time. On the third day, I did some practice in the wet and got a 50.5. I had to use the cadet carts because the rental carts don't have wet tyres, so they couldn't clear any water. The track would then get to a point where it would have probably been red flagged in real life and you could barely drive. On day 4, I went back to dry conditions and improved on my time massively with a 47.3. Day 5, I did some races with AI to try and find some good overtaking spots, and to my surprise, I beat my PB and got a 47.1. On day 6, I had my first races at Castle Combe in the morning. I then did practice on the sim when I got home, and found I got up to speed quicker because I'd warmed up in real life. On Sunday, it was time to visit the track again. I was so excited to see if the sim would help. There are a few things I'm going to be looking for. 1. My fastest lap. This is important for qualifying to allow you to start further up the grid. 2. How quickly I can get up to speed. This is critical in race scenarios and can give you a huge advantage over drivers that need longer to warm up. 3. Consistency. This is a little harder to look for in these sessions given the mixed experience levels. Just like last time, the session started with a formation lap. There weren't any puddles this time, so the start was a lot smoother. After I'd cleared the traffic, I felt so much more comfortable pushing. The track felt exactly the same as in the sim. Even the buildings around the circuit were the same. Like I said earlier, the curbs didn't feel as rough through the steering wheel in the sim. I also got up to speed much faster. As you can see in the graph, I only needed 3 or 4 laps in the second session, shown by the yellow line, whereas in the first session, shown by the blue line, it took me 15 laps. I honestly can't emphasize this enough. The track felt exactly like it did in the sim. Pretty much everything was the same, even down to the painted lines and off-track buildings. So, to conclude the episode, the sim definitely helped. Not just with my consistency, but it also helped me get up to speed much faster than before. There are techniques you can use in real life that you can't use in the sim. For example, leaning. By leaning out in the corners, it acts as a differential and means you can go faster in the corners. I found it was hard to do this at Buckmore Park because the carts we were using had seat belts that went over your shoulder, but I usually do this when I go karting. I think the sim levels the playing field a bit as well. I'm a pretty tall 13-year-old, which means I'm heavier than most of the people I race against in real life. Whereas in the sim, everyone is the same weight, so it's a bit more competitive for me. Being tall also adds extra drag on the straights. Recently, I've started leaning forward to act as a human DRS, but again, I didn't do this at Buckmore Park because of the seatbelt. It may sound stupid, but I've never driven a kart that didn't have a circle steering wheel, so I also had to learn how to hold it for the first session. I was also practicing with my F1 style wheel, which is a similar shape, so it felt more natural. I think the sim helped the most in the last hairpin because I could take a lot more speed into the corner without compromising the exit. I also wasn't locking my brakes as much into heavy braking zones like the first hairpin, and felt much more confident braking later. Although I only improved my time by a few tenths, I think the sim definitely helped. I got up to speed much faster and was much more consistent. I wasn't getting stuck behind people as much this time because I knew the best places to overtake. I was super impressed by the quality of the Kart Sim DLC and would definitely recommend it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Here are my fastest laps from before and after the sim practice. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.